Telling our stories is the connective tissue of the collective human experience. The Just Keep Talking podcast delves into the lives and stories of artists. What is the impact of mental health on creativity? What does it mean to be a creative individual? Someone who feels deeply, experiences joy and pain intensely, and navigates the challenges of life through the creative process. With each story shared, we explore the authentic experience of our basic need to be seen, to be heard, and to belong. We're really not so different from one another, nor are we alone. Together, we can inspire, encourage, and enlighten each other to find the true joy and fulfillment that is within ourselves. When we just keep talking, we create the space for gratitude, self-acceptance, and grace in everyday life. In a world filled with divisiveness, fostering inclusivity and connection is a powerful way to make a positive impact. The Just Keep Talking podcast with me, Brother Love, because your story matters.
Look at the planets, look how they all look like marbles. It's like some game in outer space between the gods. I'd like to think that you and I were the contestants. That may be true, or maybe we're the prize.
Hello and welcome to the Just Keep Talking podcast. My name is Brother Love. I am your host. This episode is brought to you by Mr. Aaron's Goods. He's the best bagel in town. If you don't know that by now, you do now. What? Mr. Aaron's Bagels, 4204 Gallatin Pike. I'm telling you, folks, I'm a New Yorker. Bagels are my thing. Go to Mr. Aaron's Goods. Best bagel you're ever going to have in Nashville. I promise. My guest today is Brett Ryan Stewart. Hello.
Hey, man.
I'm in your house. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, technically, you're in my barn.
That's right.
You haven't been in my house yet. I think you'd be nervous.
I'd be a little nervous. Well, I appreciate being in your space. We are here at Wirebird Productions.
Yeah.
That is your studio. You're a singer. You're a songwriter. You're a producer. Big-time guy.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, well, absolutely we'll see. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'm thrilled.
A few weeks ago or a few months ago, I interviewed your wife, Rosemary Fossey.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan. When we were just talking off air, I love everything she does musically, creatively, artistically. You guys run with a real band of cool cats. Anana, Kaye, who was also on this show, Irakli Gabriel. You guys have really something special going on the east side here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm a big fan of yours, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very
Likewise.
welcome. Thank you.
Welcome to the herd. You're part of it too,
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Man, so you're a dad. Elliot is how old?
As he'll gladly tell you, 3.5.
Does he speak?
Oh, speaks so much.
I don't know.
So much.
Yeah, 3.5. I don't know.
3.5.
Yeah.
And he asks every day, am I still 3.5?
Oh.
He doesn't understand time, but then again, neither do I. Do you?
Sometimes I do, but I lose track of time quite often.
It's just a concept.
It
What does it even mean?
Yeah. Well, it's wonderful when we get lost in the moment of what we love.
Which children are great at.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Isn't that something?
There's such a reminder of just losing yourself in it.
Yeah. What does Elliot lose himself in?
Everything.
Yeah.
Except for when he, requires snacks and cuddles. Big on cuddles. And if he's a little chilly, if I have the air conditioner too low.
Yeah.
Other than that, he is just in his world. He likes to play. I mean, we like to play. We're big, especially Rosemary, big on play. And but I'm kind of the mindset, like the George Carlin mindset around kids. Not that I think he should be used as necessarily the archetype of all things paternal, but that, kids are sometimes best left alone to let them explore their imagination. And that's how I was. Not ignored, just for the record. Just give them space to kind of give them both. Give them something to entertain them and learn from. I don't know, I just feel like all creativity kind of comes from that place.
Yeah.
So I like to see, sometimes we'll just be sitting there quietly watching him. We don't even realize how much time goes by where we're just watching him discover whatever it is, or he tells himself little stories, or, he's playing with things and he's giving each one a voice. It's wild.
Wow.
It's a wild thing to watch.
That's amazing. I kind of do the same thing my whole life. I grew up with...
For some reason, at some age, it becomes inappropriate or sometimes even illegal. But in his case, it's totally normal.
Well, yeah.
And we foster it.
The inappropriate behavior is that I talk to myself all the time.
Right.
And if I'm in public, people don't know what I'm doing.
Have you considered that you're doing that right now? That I'm not even here?
No, because I can see you and I can feel you.
Okay.
Well, I grew up, one would think that I was an only child. I have a brother and a sister, but I do remember being able to occupy my time with my imagination.
Yeah.
And it was always so beautiful. And I would come up with songs. I would just come up with little tunes, little ditties, or little bits, or little conversations. The older I get now, I have arguments. That's the hard part.
Right.
It's not just singing songs in my spare time, la-di-da. I'm yelling at somebody, in my head, which is just terrible. That's baggage. That's what therapy is for, which I
Have you ever had like a fully realized argument with somebody in your head?
Absolutely.
And then realize that it was only you having it? But I think it's a way to kind of perceive every possible outcome of how that argument's going to go.
Yes, because we think we have control over our minds in order to lessen the reality that we don't have control over anything, really.
Very little.
Very little. And so the heart is something very difficult to deal with, these emotions. So we try to figure them out. So that's why, yes, I've had an argument, absolutely, with family members where every angle, I'm like, I got this on lock. I know the outcome because, by the way.
I'm glad I'm not the only one,
oh,
frankly.
Absolutely not. And by the way, at the end of the day, it's nothing like I'd ever imagined it.
Oh, and usually they're certainly not having this argument in their own head.
No.
They might not even have thought. Usually those arguments, these imaginary arguments, they parlay from an imagined conflict.
Yes.
That never existed except for it. And a lot of times we take it from some small cue that they may have actually given us that meant nothing like what we assume it to mean.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we're going down, and then we hear from them the next day, and it's almost like neck-breaking in how opposite it is of how we just imagined that going.
Yeah.
They weren't thinking about it. They were thinking about mushrooms.
Well, yeah, but just the fact that I waste a lot of time and energy worrying about something that's just in my head. This is something that I hope that you take with you as you raise your son, because this stuff is important, right? You're a dad now, and I know you know that, but you're a dad in music, and we've been honoring on this show moms in music, your wife Rosemary. I had Alexis Sosky on recently, and she's a new mom, Rachel Rodriguez, who's part of the Mishpucha family here, and I want to honor dads.
Cool.
You are somebody that I admire very much.
Thank you.
I love your work. You produced an album called Whispers and Sighs in 2021. It's an amazing record by David Olney and Anana Kaye.
Yeah.
And of course, David Olney passed. He passed away. So this album was released after his passing, and it's a gorgeous record. Your work is just incredible.
Thank you. I mean, I was a part of a incredible team, obviously, with Anana and David and all the musicians. Yeah, that was a wild experience. We were sitting right here, Anana, Arakli, and I, putting the final mixes together. I think we had just finished when we got the call that we didn't think was real. Right. We thought it was a weird prank, and that we got the call that he'd passed. Wow. So there was some synchronicity there that happened. Wow. With this passing, but the albums. I mean,
it's beautiful.
Easily one of my proudest projects. Yeah.
You're in the rock world, the pop world, classical. You very much cinematic work that you do is so heartfelt. And I know you have songs that have been synced. You've had Netflix, Queer Eye, films on A&E, the Oprah Winfrey Network, Heineken. So, you do a lot.
Yeah, the Heineken's a funny outlier, but yeah.
You do a lot.
Yeah.
You're working hard, and now you're a dad. And I just find that so incredible, and it's not an easy place to be. So what's it like for you these days? Where are you at these days? Because you're from Delaware. Yeah. How long you been in Nashville?
Oh, 18 years.
Right, same as me, about 18 years. And so you've been riding the wave, doing the whole thing. Yeah. And now here we are. You have your own studio. You have a new record out that I just checked out. It's called The Contestants, and I know you've had some singles out. The latest single is called The Contestants.
Yeah, it's the title track, yeah.
The title track, you recorded it here?
Yep.
In your studio. Yep. It's a beautiful record.
Thank you.
So what's it like with all of this working at the same time and being a father?
I can't even imagine life before, you hear parents say, you get to a certain point with being a parent that you can't even imagine the world without this person that you brought in, and that's proving to be true. The record that's out now, The Contestants, and the song were all written and recorded prior to my son Elliot coming along.
Right.
I'll tell you one thing that changes the most is this is also cliche, and it turns out to be true. Oh, by the way, all the cliches about parenthood are true. And then there's nuance to each cliche that you just can't possibly understand until you become the parent.
Right.
And for me, that would be like the thing about time is one.
Mm-hmm.
The way I utilize my time is completely different now. I wish I had the time management skills that I have now before I was a father, because damn, I would have been on it. I mean, I know how to use time. I know what the value of that is. And I also recognize that had I used that at an earlier point in my life, there would have been positive indicators of that. And but you don't know until you know. Mm-hmm. So that's one. I would say that's a big thing. The why changes big time.
What do you mean?
This was hard for me, actually. Mother's experiences too. As the father, I think just men in general. I mean, just to make a kind of a blanket statement, there's certain roles in society that we feel like we need to play. That's before we become a father. And then when we become a father, it amplifies and maybe changes a little bit. There's the breadwinner role that's kind of maybe outdated, but still applies. The protective element, all these things. And more than anything, I think if you're an artist and you become incredibly aware of how self-involved you were when you're now no longer the center of your own universe, or at least I would hope you wouldn't be. But that was really hard to make that change. And that's when I did. I really reckoned with like, oh man, I was kind of disgusted by who I was before. And that's not to say that my perception of my previous self was accurate. It's just, you're going through this major life change. You realize, first of all, that the world does not revolve around you. Your art, although has incredible merit, in that moment of transition, you evolve to see it maybe from a different viewpoint, where it's not about serving yourself as much, serving your ego. It has to serve some greater purpose. You might not know what that is, but it has to do that, or else it's not worth it. So here's kind of a real world application of that. Yeah. The album that I was working on, my album called The Contestants, we started during COVID. We were kind of in lockdown, and Rockley and I wrote a bunch of songs. I wrote some songs with Stuffy Schmidt. I had some other songs that I'd written. Yeah. I think about 8 months into lockdown, we got together with masks and started recording here. Now, when I was doing that, it was still under the guise of this is important for my self-worth, Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that, of course, at the time. If I had, I wouldn't have done it. As records do, that took a while. Mm-hmm. And in that time of starting and finishing the record, that's when I found out that I was going to become a father, became a father, and my life completely changed. Yeah. The big thing was, now I need to be there, not just physically, but mentally for my wife. Right. I need to be there for my child. The idea of taking time for myself to finish this thing I started, that now, of which its purpose is in question, is a really hard thing to come around to and say, all right, it's time to finish that record for daddy. It took me a while to come around to the why. And ultimately the why, at first I would say, and maybe even still, was that the why is I need to show, and my son at this point was an infant, so it's he's not necessarily taking any life lessons from old daddy yet, you know what I mean?
Right. Just cues, not lessons.
Cues, exactly, very subtle. But for my own sake, I think it was I need to prove to my kid that you should finish what you started.
Yeah, man.
And, so follow through is important, but also follow through for things that are meaningful. So then I had to find the meaning. It was well, what is it? Is it for, some righteous, intangible purpose that I can't really put into words, some divine purpose? Or is it actually just, ego and maybe self-therapy? And then I kind of reached this point of it doesn't matter. That's beyond, like you said, it's beyond our control anyway. What we do, what we create is for us, and then it's for everyone else at a certain point. And so I kind of let that go, but did stick with the follow-through aspect. Right. And I was proud of that. And I'm still proud of that. And now he is old enough to come. He comes out for sessions. When I have musicians in here, he's knocking on, he knows not to knock when I'm recording, but he comes out for visits all the musicians. He loves this life that happens here in the studio, which to me is so I'm not going to force that on my kid. Right. He's just coming to it so naturally. And whatever he takes from it, just seeing that you can be part of magic. Right. That I think maybe I had kind of taken for granted after a certain amount of time of doing this, especially vocationally. It's you lose a little bit of that. Sure. It's harder to hold on to. Seeing him light up. Wow. It's well, that's okay. That's cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And we try to foster that in the house now too. And Yeah.
Well, you're both so creative. It'd be funny. Elliot would be an accountant, you know? That's
right. And it might be the case.
You
And
know, he might just be like, I'll be a doctor. Okay, whatever you want to be.
whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
But that's great. You're very open. But just about you, the Nashville Voyager had a wonderful article that I read that you sent me. So thank you.
Yeah.
And you talk about yourself, and I'm going to just quote you saying, I'm trusting, straightforward, and also sensitive. I believe in the goodness of people. That all makes the creative process much more fun. When you trust each other's intentions, both creatively and personally, and let the process happen naturally without the relent of ego clouding the path.
I said that?
You definitely did. Yeah. I love to talk to another man about emotional stuff.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily do it. I don't know you. You don't know me. I interviewed your wife. I see you at the gym. We sweat in the same room together. That's cool.
It's pretty emotional, too,
That
though.
is pretty emotional. Absolutely. But, you know, we are in an age now where things have shifted. You know, my wife makes more money than I do. By far. Absolutely. You know, and I'm okay with that. You know, I was raised by my mother. My father's still alive. I know your dad had passed.
Yeah.
And you were very young.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
Oh, well.
My mom passed in 2002. I was always taught to be emotionally available. I was always taught to listen. And I was always taught that my feelings matter.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really important. And so I love this article in the Nashville Voyager Review, and that now that you're a dad and that you're looking at things from a perspective that's not just from your own ego.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy thing to do.
It's really not. You know, people aspire to that.
Yeah.
I probably did in theory, but when it came down to where the rubber meets the road, it's pretty daunting because you're left with why.
Yeah.
And when you don't have the why, it's like the Viktor Frankl, I'll butcher it, but and you can achieve anything if you have your why. And I was missing my why there for a minute. Or it
Right.
changed. The why changed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, your dad passed at a very young age.
Yeah.
And what did you take on a role? Did you become something that you didn't know you were going to become in that moment, looking back?
Yeah. I mean, looking back for sure, I became the man of the house because it was just my mom and I. My brother, who was older, he was off at college.
Yeah.
And practically speaking, as I got a little bit older, I became the handyman of the house, like
Wow.
in every way. And I still am a very handyman oriented. I like to fix stuff. I like to build stuff, like the studio. But, you know, probably similar to you, I think in being raised essentially by my mother, you know, I wonder about that too sometimes. If my dad had still been around, because from stories, I don't know how emotionally available he was. You know, he's an old South Philly All-American baseball player, bartender, like, you know, just all these things that, like, he was kind and giving, but, you know, probably classic male stuff it down. And so with my mom being my primary source of inspiration in that, I think that informed how quickly I became. But I also, you know, I mean, later on, I found myself kind of pushing those emotions down. I don't know why. Maybe that was just society's impact or self-preservation.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, my mom raised us that men and women are equal. I have a cassette tape of her interviewing us. And it's like, what are the differences between boys and girls? I'm like, I don't know, 7 years old. My brother's like 5. My sister, she's not in this little audio tape. And she's like, what are the differences between boys and girls? And I'm like, boys have penises, girls have vaginas.
That is true.
That is true.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, well, anything else? I'm like, you know, I'm like searching for answers. And I'm like, boys have short hair, girls have long hair, which isn't true. I grew my hair very long. But then there was a question that she just sort of paused and she said, well, okay, what about equality? And we were like, what do you mean? And she's like, are boys better than girls? And there was a silence.
Feels like a setup.
It did. It was. Absolutely. A setup for the rest of my life. And I was like, no, they're equal. And she just said, oh, you could see the smile on her face. That's good to know. And I don't know if she was holding a broom above my head to smack me if I had the wrong answer or not. Yeah. But I've always felt that way. I've never felt any different, and that's because of my mother. Yeah. My father's still alive. I mean, he's healthy and happy, early 80s, but, you know, not emotionally available. You know, sort of never has been. But, you know, I know he loves me, and I love him, and we have our differences big time. And it's hard, and it's very frustrating, you know, because times have changed. And emotions now are running really hot in this country. They're running really hot individually, interpersonality-wise. Interpersonally, rather. So raising your son, what do you feel going into the future now? Like, are you afraid? Are you excited? Or a little bit of both? Like, how do you do it? Because this is a wild world, man.
Dude, everything you're saying is true. I experienced my vitriol about the world stage differently before becoming a father. I think just like everything else, it was self-serving. It was like, I'm going to make an impact. And that included going to protest marches and all these things. And I did my fair share of that, wrote my protest songs, all that. The difference now is there is an actual dread for him.
Yeah.
That I never could have possibly imagined.
What is that dread?
Well, it's just,
what?
I know that we keep hearing like these are unprecedented times, and every generation will tell you that. And to be frank, like talking to somebody like a World War II vet about what's happening right now, they might have a different point of view than what seems like kind of like this apocalyptic time that we're living in. And I'm not saying that either is right or wrong, but every generation does seem to always think that we're on this brink of doom, culturally, civilization-wise, and maybe in the cosmic scheme of things. I think that's built in, partly. I think that's a survival instinct.
Sure.
Not to get too in the weeds with it, but maybe thinking that is kind of a salve for me to like go, okay, it's actually okay.
Right. Every generation has their version of
going
dread.
way back when our frontal lobes developed. And so like, I learned this thing in therapy, that you probably learned too, of like writing. I don't actually write it out, but where you would write out the scenario that you're picturing. And when you kind of look at that from that angle, you can see where rational and irrational thought happens. And almost always that dread goes irrationally. Or to make it simple, like Tom Petty says, most things I worry about never happen anyway.
Right. Well,
and I apply that to fatherhood as much as I can.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because I'm friends with a veteran. He'll be 86.
Yeah, did you ever talk to him about this stuff?
He is absolutely disgusted by what is going on in this country.
Yeah.
When I first met him, I thought that he was going to be a Trumper. I thought he was going to be just not a good friend, not a good neighbor. This guy calls me. He calls me more than my dad does, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
He calls to check in on me. He calls to check in on members of my family that he's met, on my wife. We chat about this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
If anything is going on politically, he calls me up to see what he's watching on the news. He also calls me up because he doesn't know where the dial tone on his phone is. And I'm trying to explain to him, there's no such thing anymore. On your new iPhone, there's no dial tone. Wow. So it's really sweet and really cute. And I serve him. Yeah. And I love him, and he's wonderful. But he is disgusted by what is going on, and he's afraid. And he just is like, where's the common sense? Where's the human decency?
Yeah.
And when I hear an older man who is a veteran, who has served this country, who is white, he's from Memphis, he has got his head together. Yeah. And he understands what's at stake here. He understands that we need to be kind to each other. And he's by no means, he's not perfect in any way. He has tons of issues and problems, and we talk about this stuff. But the one thing that he maintains, which is we need to be better to each other, and we need to have an America that is better than this. That's what his take on it is. And I applaud him for standing up for his own beliefs and from how he was raised to be better to people and not to be so self-serving.
Well, not to mention what they fought for.
Yes, for real.
Right. I mean, I can't even imagine watching this happen after you fought to defend against this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing. Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So it blows my mind. And so it must be harrowing. I'm afraid to bring a child into this world. My wife and I, we don't have kids. We don't plan on having kids. If we did, we would. Meaning like if we got pregnant, we'd have a kid. But kudos to you. It's a lot of pressure. So how is your mental health through all this? Like you have to work and keep the lights on. Both you and your wife work. You work your butts off. You're bringing a kid up. You have your own things to deal with. You can't just put yourself aside and say, there's no more me. But you can't be so self-serving. It's all about me. Because then you're going to have to save a lot more money for therapy for Elliot. So I'm in therapy. You're in therapy.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. You say it's absolutely.
I mean, I think anybody who's not in therapy these days should consider it. It's almost like an essential food group,
Yeah.
But how to answer that, I guess, because I think about this pretty much every day. Well, like I said earlier, one thing that's true, my ability to squeeze a lot into a small amount of time has amplified tenfold, and that's awesome. Wish I'd done it sooner, but again, you learn, and that's what I've learned. So I've learned to make better use of my time. I'm also more motivated by a sense of urgency. Time really changes when you're watching somebody develop so quickly. Your perception of time just changes. I mean, I'm also of an age that it's supposedly speeding up anyway. You get to a certain age, it's after 35 or something, like everything's like, that's true.
I'm 54, bro. It's fast. It's all fast.
Dude, it just keeps flying. And now every day I have this physical proof of how, of course, they change so quick. So it does skew the actual understanding of time, but it feels like it's going fast.
Yeah.
I live with I think there's a term for it, but I live with, we probably, all of us sensitive types do. It's a guilt for not giving enough of ourselves to other people or to the moment. I live with that no matter what. You know, in previous times when I would maybe not be doing this for a living and essentially working from home, if I had an office job to go to, it would almost relieve some of the guilt, because it's like, well, that's what daddy does. He goes to the office, he's there for 40 hours a week, and then he comes home, he's tired, he's a little cranky. By the way, I'm not like advocating for this. I'm just saying that like emotionally, it would make sense to the part of me that instead insists that you must feel guilty about the time that you're spending outside of, you know, his child rearing years. Yeah. Not just for him, but for Rosemary as well. And we have a good system working now. But, you know, we're here in my barn. It's 40 feet from the house. Yep. When I'm out here, if I'm not out here on the clock, you know, actually working for somebody else and making money, because that I can justify for obvious reasons. Right. That's keeping the lights on. When I'm out here for anything that's not that, I'm going, what am I doing? What am I doing? Still, like I have not put that to rest. I think that's getting easier, but it's still, you know, and there's this fear that one day I'm gonna, you know, first of all, social media does not help. Not at all. Because you're aware of, I mean, we could say that for just about anything. One thing it really doesn't help is my algorithm now is programmed to feed me all of the future guilt stuff of like, you know, these years with your kid are going to fly. It's all parent guilt stuff. Like these years are going to fly by, and for every time you say, oh, not right now, son, you know, there's going to be a day when you'll kill for those moments. And that's all true, but I can't also function in the world if I'm living with that. So one of two things is the case here. I need to change my algorithm or just get off social media altogether. And the other part is I'm trying to find the balance between still living my life. Rosemary and I did kind of make a vow to each other and to ourselves as a unit when we decided to be parents, that we don't want to be those parents that just only live for their kid. Right. We got to have our own place in the world. And I actually think that's giving something to him as well. So he can see that what mommy and daddy does is cool. Yeah. I mean, even if it wasn't cool to him, if it was fulfilling to us, that's important for him to see. Yeah. So I retain that. You know, that kind of helps me when I'm feeling guilty. I'm like, no, you know what? I'm working on something cool, and I'm going to show it to him when it's done. Yeah. Then in a few years, when he starts messing around with creative stuff, he already is. But I mean, like when he really gets into like a craft, whatever that is, he'll see like, you know what? That takes time. That means time to myself and all that. And he knows that I love the hell out of him. Yeah. I mean, like that is not under scrutiny. So a lot of this I put on myself. Sure. But it's also selfish. Like it already feels like time's going by so quick. So I don't want to wake up and feel like I missed moments. Even when I'm in the same room with them, I'm somewhere else. Yeah. Sometimes. And I have to keep catching myself. And they say that there's a way to mindfully bring the center back. And maybe that's true. I don't know. But that's life. That's exactly. You know, it's really put up to a microscope when you have a child in front of you. Yeah. And, you know, you are person that didn't have a father, that lost a father. You know, my dad left at 14, man. That was it. No more dad. I mean, like, you know, I have a father, but didn't have a dad, you know, and you didn't have a dad for real, like in life. So that plays a big role in it too. Is the worry that, because, you know, you always, another cliche is like you want your kids to have what you didn't have. And I don't want to rob him of the thing that I didn't have right before his eyes when I'm actually available, you know? Yeah. Which is why you see me at the gym 5 days a week. I'm trying to stay as healthy as possible for him, because there's that dread in my mind. My father passed from lung cancer, and, you know, prior to that had some other health things, and not much older than you, it shouldn't have happened. You know? Right. Oh, yeah. And so that lingers. That's in my mind. Yeah. For sure. My dad lost his father pretty much the same deal. My dad was 12 years old, going on 13. Yeah. He was an Orthodox Jew, getting ready to be bar mitzvahed. That went all out the window. He was like, there's no God. I lost my dad. There's no forget that. And I can't blame him at all. And I can't blame him for a lot of the fact that he is distant and doesn't have access to his feelings. But what I have been upset about is that he has had a choice. Yeah. You have a choice. Exactly, man. And that's the most beautiful gift, is to be able to have the choice so that you can snap yourself back in the moment, be present, you know, be here now, as it were, right? Which is beautiful. So let's get to your health a little bit. You are a type 1 diabetic. Yeah, buddy. So I didn't know this about you because it's not something that people wear on their foreheads necessarily, but this is a big deal. But hey, man, isn't it manageable? Can't you just manage your type 1 diabetes? I say this in jest. I know where you're going. I say it in jest because I have a dear friend named Madison Thorne, who is also a type. That's our mutual dear friend. Exactly. Yeah. And she is so fired up about
this. And I never know why, because I'm not a diabetic, right? And I don't understand. I'm like, yeah, okay, but I don't understand. Explain it to me. And now I hear you, I see you, and I feel you. I want to know more. What's it like for you? You were diagnosed when you were young. And why the urgency to get the messaging out to the world and to your community of the importance of what it means to be a diabetic?
Yeah.
Type 1.
Thanks for asking. Madison and I have a little thread with a couple other type 1s that it just happens to be we're all in the arts in some way.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like our bitching thread where we just bemoan the life that we have. So I've been diabetic for most of my life. My dad died when I was 7, and then a couple of years later, I think a year and a half later, I was diagnosed. And those were kind of the stone ages of type 1 diabetes treatment and diagnosis. Now, it's completely different. I still don't envy anybody who gets diagnosed, and I know a lot of people with kids that are getting diagnosed and also a lot of adults that are now getting diagnosed. I'll just say out of the gates, the marketing for type 1 diabetes for the last 40, 50 years has been such bullshit. It's infuriating. And Madison and I share this, and I think, like there's also an amount of reluctance and guilt to like trouble other people with how awful it is to live with. Because, you can compare it to other situations in the world, other countries that don't have resources that we have. You could go down the line with that. But the bottom line is it is a shitty disease with a shitty prognosis and a shitty lifestyle. And there's just no way around it. I've come to the point where I accept it to an extent. Rosemary probably has a different opinion on how much I actually accept it because she hears the brunt of how much I resent having to live with it. A couple of years ago, I started getting really vocal. It was actually during COVID. And I think maybe some of the pushback during COVID about people wearing masks and stuff really triggered me in some way because I'm sitting here like thinking about, these people, whether, you could debate how efficient or how effective the efficacy, that's the word I was looking for, the efficacy of all of the stuff that we were trying during COVID. That's not, the point is with our best information at the time, people were pushing back against their rights being imposed on when I'm thinking like, do you know what it takes for me to just stay alive? Through pandemic or not.
Right.
Like the amount of work to just stay alive. And then on top of that, that's not even to speak of like to feel good, like how much is involved to just have like a normal few hours of a day that doesn't feel like I either have the flu or that I'm going to, pass out from low blood sugar. And they think it's like this easy glide as long as you do these few protocol. And it's just so much more nuanced than that. But that is the messaging that's been sold. So I don't necessarily blame the layman for how they've understood type 1 diabetes. It's when they're given the information and they still decide to just be confirmation bias. Like they'll just hear what they want to hear.
Right.
Anyway, about 5 years ago, I created a brand new Instagram account to simply advocate for the negative side of living with type 1. My feed was full of like type 1 diabetic influencers talking about you can do this and this is a manageable disease if you. It's not that is not somewhat true. That is a whole lot of fluff and, no pun intended, sugarcoating. This is not a thing that mindset can fix.
Okay.
It is a physiological thing that does ultimately own you. You can't convince me otherwise. I'm 35 plus years with this thing.
Right.
I am on the cutting edge of every new development, every new technology. I'll try anything. So I know. Yeah. I'm not speaking out of turn here. So about 5 years ago, I created this Instagram account and just kind of made a very simple message, which was that type 1 diabetes is survivable. And I kind of used that as a retort to the manageable word that got overblown and misused because it is survivable.
It's survivable, but is it thrivable?
On a spectrum.
Okay.
You can thrive on a spectrum, but the idea that you're going to live the same life as somebody without it is utter bullshit. Right. So one of the things, and I am trying to not get too negative here, but I will say like I have an incredibly low tolerance for bullshit. Right. Bullshit from people that I respect when I hear them complaining about anything really. It's not that there aren't real life grievances. It's just that like if I had a clean bill of health that I could just count on, I wouldn't be complaining. Now, again, it's like you only know what you know. I do think like we're programmed with empathy and we kind of sometimes choose to not pull that lever. That pisses me off. Like, and it pisses me off if I'm the same, if I do that. If I can look at somebody's situation and not believe them when they say like, this is really fucking hard. Right. I can't see past my nose and my limited perspective tells me, well, yeah, but it's not that bad. So I guess where it takes me is that I resent my own body for not giving me the bandwidth to do what I know I want to do and what I could do if you just took this one thing away. Right. This one enormous thing.
Right.
So that's kind of where the pushback came from. And I'm not certainly not claiming to have sparked this movement, but I tapped into a pulse that was already happening.
Yeah.
That post took off in a pretty big way for a brand new account from some guy they've never heard of, because it really resonated with a whole lot of people who've been spoon-fed this message. And there's a guilt in the type 1 community that, like, I'm doing it wrong. And I think I pulled that Band-Aid off for people. And now a lot of people are doing it. And again, not claiming to be the first, but I was early on with it. Now the messaging has changed. And I feel like that should be the way with anything.
Yeah.
You know, we're all, especially now with social media and this age of personal brand, it's like everything feels so manicured and performative, and we can't just call a spade and say it as it is.
Warts and all, right?
Right. And even that becomes like the warts then become their own brand. And but then that becomes performative.
They're not the right warts.
They're not the right warts. Have you tried these warts?
Yes. Those aren't warts. Those are nipples. I need the warts.
You know what? I'll take both.
I'll take whatever.
Give me both.
So what do you want us to know? Like, Larry, I want you to go home today and I want you to go on this website or check this out and educate yourself that way. What would it be?
If you were to dabble in social media now, I think you're going to find a lot more, like if you just search type 1 diabetes.
Yeah, okay.
I could give you an example of one I recently started following. It's a father of a young, like 11-year-old girl.
Yeah.
He happens to work in medicine, like as a surgeon or something, but he's really advocating for these new, they're called, the company's called Elliot Pharmaceuticals, and they're kind of pioneering what ultimately could be the cure.
Wow.
Who the hell knows once bureaucratic hands get involved? Sure. But for right now, I'm really counting on this thing actually being the thing.
Yeah.
It's the first we've seen of an actual cure. But the reason I would, as a non-diabetic, I would follow this guy and others like him is that he's giving the real picture of what it actually is. And the reason we're asking people like myself or Madison are advocating is not for pity. In fact, it's counter to what we actually want. It's nothing. I don't want privilege. I want understanding.
Right.
I want it to be understood that, like, this could be cured if we stopped calling it manageable. This could be optional in a few years.
Right.
You could not worry if your kid at 9 years old gets a diagnosis, because guess what? It's curable. But all that is going to happen only if we stop thinking it's so fucking easy. And it's because it's not. But on top of that, it's like, you know, there's just like day-to-day stuff that's going to be like, you know, hey, like right now, actually, if you look at that number on the desk right there, see that? 87?
Yeah. Yes.
It's teetering on low.
Oh, that's you.
It's me.
Oh.
I have those all over the house. They're called sugar pixels. I can glance at them and see what my sugar is. That's the kind of thing that's the nuance of having type 1 that doesn't often get talked about. We think that it's just pricking your finger a couple times a day or wearing a CGM. It's the constant thinking of what this thing is.
Right.
What is it doing? What's my body? Why does my body feel like that? Why am I sweating? So you ask, like, why would it be helpful for understanding is, first of all, it's an epidemic. So there's more and more people that are, some of them are kind of closeted type 1s because they're ashamed, which is, you know, something I'd also like to eradicate. But more than that, it's, hey, if we're talking and I'm not paying attention, please don't be offended. It's, you know, it's that I'm thinking like, I feel a little weird right now. Do I need sugar?
Right.
Or I'm looking at that number going, okay, it's too lower than it was a few minutes ago. Should I take some sugar? Or the other side of it is I'm grumpy as hell.
Yeah.
Please don't take this personally. It's like a t-shirt says like, I'm sorry for what I said when my sugar was high. You know, but that's a real thing. And it took me years of navigating this disease earlier on. I just thought I was a grumpy, depressed person. It turns out it was just because my blood sugar wasn't in very good control.
Wow. Because
I was young and malleable and, you know, invincible like we all are in our early 20s or even teenage years. And then when I started to harness the disease and take as best control as I could, which is, you know, a loose term, I noticed, oh, this is actually what it feels like to not be diabetic, which is also where the resentment set in.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, I could feel normal if I just didn't have diabetes.
Right, yeah.
You know, spouses or parents of type 1s are probably taking the brunt of it. And Rosemary, I know, has to stomach a lot of just grumpy Brett around the house.
Right.
Because, you know, when I'm at work, I summon whatever energy I can to be positive.
Yeah.
And it works. But then, you know, the mask comes off when it's dinner time, and I've just had a day of my body working against me.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you put it into music very well.
Thank you.
That's huge that you create art and that you're a feeling person. Yeah. And thank you for the lesson on type 1 diabetes. I mean,
man.
Honestly.
Happy to talk about it.
I appreciate it. I want to quote you again from the Nashville Voyager. I've always connected most with songs that contend with tough subjects. I want the hairs to raise up on your neck when you hear a certain lyric or the sulking cry of a cello. To me, That's where the healing begins. And I want to create music that heals both myself and hopefully others. Your record, The Contestants, is the full record out?
Yes.
I know
mostly,
the single is fairly new.
Yeah.
And I want to read a lyric here from The Contestants. And the lyric says, I want to know how far the universe expanded. I want to know what's on the other side. A baby's born, another life has landed. In perfect harmony, someone's daddy died. So lead the way if you think you have an answer, because I've been dying to figure it out. Why'd he have to get that cancer? Guess he had to leave you for a while.
When you read it back,
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
And you understand enough of yourself to write and feel these lyrics and these words. What does it mean?
Well, I mean, having lost my dad at such an early age colored the lens for the rest of my life that I was going to see the world through. And I think grief has been a major player in years, even the early years that I feel like it was unfair to have been a role in. It's just always been there. So when I started writing, it was like, naturally, I'm going to gravitate towards these topics, these themes, and of loss. And I think everything's tinged with a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that song particularly came at a very pivotal moment when I kind of reckoned with, I can't live in this anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, without like completely excavating the whole thing. The grief that comes with life that we're all facing at some point or the other can open up some big questions, you know?
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time with those big questions, more than I want or feel is healthy to live a functional life. So I think this song kind of gave me a permission slip to put it behind me.
Yeah. Wow.
And maybe ease the burden for somebody else.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you for that because, you know, I grew up essentially without a dad, you know, and this song struck a chord in me. And I appreciate you being able to be so open and to really be able to see that there is newness and new life and having to move on, but not forget.
It just becomes part of the same tapestry, you know, and it's always happening. It's happening right now. It's wild.
Are you a better dad or a better husband?
Well, if you ask Elliot, you'll get the answer that I like.
I don't even know if this is a fair question. I really don't. But I just, for some reason,
I'm definitely a better dad. Actually, without question, I'm a better dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a better dad because you didn't have a dad, or just because?
Probably.
Yeah.
I can own the fact that I save. Sounds awful when I say it. The worst part of me, I save for Rosemary.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunately the way it is.
Yeah.
It's got to go somewhere, and I will not let him see it as much as I can.
Right.
So that's part of it. The other part of it is that, like, I just love being a dad so much.
Yeah.
You know,
That's great.
And he lights me up. He makes it almost impossible to be sad. It's not that I'm not capable.
Oh yeah,
and I will try.
You have a lifetime of practice at that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, man. This is like the scrimmage game's over. Like we're in the World Series now, and I'm learning to maybe put some of that behind me.
I hear you, man. I mean, like, I don't beat up, but emotionally beat up my wife. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we do.
Yeah, it's awful, but we do it.
Yeah, and we're both really working on it now. We're both really hearing each other now. We're both really seeing each other now more than ever. That doesn't mean that it's cured or goes away.
No.
You know, like, I literally, like, she jumped down my throat yesterday morning about something, and I walked away. I have a new mantra. And my new mantra is, it's not my anxiety. It's not my anxiety. It's not my anxiety. Because I take on people's feelings. I realize that I take on emotion. I am an empath. And I take on a lot. And forever, I feel terrible about every situation because I didn't do enough. I tried too hard. I've been tap dancing. I'm trying to prove. I'm trying to, you know, do everything and be the best me I could possibly be. Whenever I do that, I'm the worst me I could be.
Yep.
Because I turn around and I'm cruel. I'm short with my wife. I don't think before I speak. I don't pause for any second, and I'm just completely reaction without reflection.
Right.
So I'm trying, and I'm doing the best that I can. And I think my wife and I are both trying very hard with that. So, you know, I appreciate your honesty with that because that's a great answer. I really do.
Oh, I think the merit is in the trying. And that's,
exactly. What's new? What's coming up for you now? You're working on a lot of different things. You're working with different artists. What are you working on now in addition to the music that you have coming out, which is your own music?
So I'm spinning a lot of plates at all times.
Right.
As a producer and studio engineer, I am really excited about Maisie Owen.
Oh, yeah.
Really great young talent that's like way beyond her years musically and philosophically. It's cool. That's something that I'm working on in the studio as of late.
That's great.
That's really, yeah. There's many though. I mean, I could list, and I'm afraid to do that because if I leave anything out,
no, that's okay.
Somebody's going to be like, why didn't you mention me on the...
Yeah.
But more than that, a lot of my time for the last 3 years has been, this is a testament to the way that becoming a father changed me.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to Nashville to cultivate my life as a songwriter and a singer and a performer. And after a few years, I got really timid. Like, it didn't go away. It got worse. I was like, there's so much better stuff here. And so I kind of recoiled into my studio producer guy that I did feel safe in because it gave me a degree of separation. Wasn't putting my face on it, wasn't putting my name on it. I mean, I was, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I was the Wizard of Oz behind the scenes, and I liked that and I felt comfortable there. And I kept writing and recording my own songs. And then, they just wouldn't get shared or promoted or anything because I just didn't want that feeling of rejection that we all deal with. And when I became a father, I was like, this is shit or get off the pot, man. Like, you've got a catalog of stuff. You've got more songs that you're writing. What are you doing?
Right.
You got to share them.
Mm-hmm.
Quit being a little... So ultimately what it came to was like, no, now is the time. People become parents and they become more risk averse. I went the opposite direction. I went all in on risk. All of a sudden I'm risking, my energy and finances and my sense of self and, this well-fortified ego, that's now I'm putting it out on the marketplace to be scrutinized. All of that happened as a result of becoming a father because it was kind of like, fuck it. If not now, when,
Yeah.
So that's been really liberating. I've learned because of type 1 diabetes that I do not do well with live performance, especially at length. Touring is not for me. I've done it. It's not for me.
Yeah.
So that did create a roadblock of how to share my music, but I got really into digital marketing. I learned how to market to people and share my music with people that would not have found it otherwise because I'm not touring in their city.
Yeah.
And that has felt really, it was a learning curve, but it's felt really at home for me. So now it's been really cool. The last 2 years, I've been sharing stuff and reaching an audience and connecting with people that the songs, the contestants, really resonate with. So that's been really gratifying. That takes up most of my time when I'm not in the studio with somebody else or being a dad. Yeah. In fact, that is all my time. My friends give me a lot of shit because they never see me out. And
right.
That's why.
It's okay.
It's not like I'm wasting the time.
No.
And I'd love to see my friends more.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
I have a speed round of questions.
All right.
Easy stuff.
Cool.
Man.
I like
you
these.
Ready? What fascinates you, Brett Ryan Stewart?
The extent to which the universe is expanded. Because we don't even know what that means.
That's true. That's right.
It also terrifies me.
Yeah. That's good. Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
What angers you?
Something I mentioned earlier is people taking their resources and their energy and life, life force for granted.
Yeah.
And blaming others for a lot in life.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
What brings you joy?
My little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I mean, there's literally no other answer to that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a problem if there was. If you had a magic wand and you could change anything or fix anything to your liking, what would it be?
On any scale?
I'm giving you a magic wand. Brett, you can change or fix anything. Just, there it is.
Diabetes. It'd be gone.
Be gone.
Yeah.
That's so easy.
Yeah.
Here's the hard one. All right. Toilet paper, over the roll or under the roll?
Ooh, shit. Under.
Under.
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
That's the correct answer, right?
No, it's absolutely not. It is for you because you're a cat person, and I think
so judgy.
Cat people really. I'm not judging you. I am judging you. Over the roll is what I consider to be a little bit more of a civilized, normal human being. So that is judgy. I want you to know that I changed your toilet paper in your house.
Is that why you asked? Was that question on there?
It's always on here for everybody, unless I forget. But yes.
So you went in and flipped it around?
Well, because it wasn't right.
Okay, well, I consider it unflipped as soon as you leave.
Brett Ryan Stewart, your music is fantastic. Your art is fantastic. Your family is fantastic. I really appreciate your time, and getting to know you has been wonderful. It means a lot to me that you have me in your home and in your space. Wirebird Productions, you do it all. You're a one-man cat with an open heart for listening and creating art and music and a wonderful space for all of us to come here and feel like we belong.
You should write my bio. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. The Contestants is out now, the single. Where can we find you?
The internet.
Yeah. Well, how? Where? What's your handle?
BrettRyanStewart.com.
BrettRyanStewart.com. gmail.com. That's perfect. My name is Brother Love. Thank you for tuning into the Just Keep Talking podcast. Your story matters, and it's my privilege and pleasure to be able to share your story. Brett, Ryan, Stewart, and I want to wish you a happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
That's new to me. Still new to me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, you wear it very well. You're a wonderful dad, and you're a wonderful husband.
Oh.
Yeah.
If I had emotions, you'd make me cry.
Until next time, thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
You can personally support this show simply by clicking the tip link in the show notes. The Just Keep Talking podcast is now available on all podcast platforms. Please like, share, and subscribe. Visit our website at justkeeptalking.com, our YouTube channel at Just Keep Talking Podcast, and Instagram at The Just Keep Talking Podcast. We all just want to be seen, to be heard, and to belong. Thank you so much for supporting my mission and the Just Keep Talking Podcast with me, Brother Love, because your story matters.